Hi, this is Naomi with Sword and Steel, and today's video is going to be on contrast paint Briar Queen Chill. Contrast paints are transparent, fluid paints that are meant to go over a light-colored primer, because their hue and vibrancy changes depending on the color of the primer underneath. The model I'm currently painting was undercoated with Wraithbone Spray Primer, which is a warm off-white color. As you can see, this Briar Queen Chill contrast paint is a pale turquoise over this color. But when I paint Briar Queen Chill over a cold grey color, like this model I primed with Gracier, Briar Queen Chill is more of a blue-toned color in comparison to its wraith-boned counterpart. Much like any of the other contrast paints, this paint is quite fluid, so you have to watch for pooling and make sure you catch any excess before the paint begins to dry. You don't want to wait to remove pools because as soon as it begins to dry, it will leave behind an awkward ring of darker dry paint if you try to pull it away after that. This particular paint was clearly meant for an eerie, ghostly color, though it could certainly be used as a highlight for non-vibrant turquoises, and would probably work very well with other thin contrasts to make all sorts of interesting color schemes. I think it would also work well for the underwater elves of Age of Sigmar, the Ideneth Deepkin. I also tried this paint over a silver metal primer, which was lead belcher, highlighted by Vallejo's Metal Color Chrome, mostly because I tried every contrast over metal, and as I expected, it didn't do much but dull down the paint and change its hue to being mildly more blue-toned. But that was through the airbrush, and it works more evidently through a paintbrush. For example, this fellow, I did the exact same thing as the skeleton, but I did it with a paintbrush, and then I dry brushed over him with a copper-hued metallic called Balthasar Gold. As you can see, it works okay as a verdigris. I also tested it as a shadow for an icy base by applying it all over a rocky base primed white, and then dry brushing a gloss white all over it after it had dried. It's certainly plausible, but I have to say at this point, either the new Frostheart contrast or the new Pilar Glacier contrast paint would be more likely my choice for quick snowy bases. So I decided to try its ghostly effects a bit more. This miniature is from Mantic Games, and I decided to make her a ghost by priming her in Vallejo Mecha Ivory and then applying a coat of glass white over a highlight. Why glass white? Mostly because I had too much on my palette from using the white on the previous bases, so I thought why not? And I picked out her awkward smile and black eyes with contrast Black Templar. Then I applied a layer of Briar Queen Chill all over her. In retrospect, I should have definitely thinned down the Briar Queen Chill with contrast medium before applying it. It would have given me a lot more control, and that is kind of what I needed for a miniature that has less details than a regular Games Workshop plastic miniature. I had to go back over removing extra paint anyway, and starting with a thinner, more diluted layer would have saved me this trouble, but at least the colors seem to be very ghostly. To add to that, just to give it some more contrast, I diluted down some Black Templar with a fair amount of contrast medium and applied that over her lower dress folds, which I think worked for the better. But were I to do her again, I'd be more careful to apply too much too soon. Gentle layers would have served her better. So much so that I laid with her a little bit longer and added more layers. When experimenting, one never knows which is going to succeed and what is going to fail. It is a very unique color paint, so I will continue exploring. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Where do you think you might be using it? And if you had any questions that I did not answer about it, feel free to comment below and ask them there, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye! Let me hug you. I must hug you. This is the last thing I wish to do.